Tonight, we bring you exclusive coverage from the front lines of the largest single tank loss Russia has faced since the beginning of the full-scale war in Ukraine. In what military analysts are calling a masterstroke of modern battlefield tactics, Ukraine has reportedly destroyed an entire armored column of 164 Russian tanks in one coordinated strike that lasted just a few minutes. The ambush took place near the Eastern Front, close to the Donetsk-Zaporizhzhia axis, a critical corridor that has seen some of the heaviest fighting in recent months. According to Ukrainian military intelligence, Russian forces were attempting to push through Ukrainian defensive lines with a massive armored assault, one that was meant to crush resistance and reclaim strategic ground. But instead, it turned into one of the most catastrophic defeats Russia has suffered to date. The event unfolded as Russian forces began moving their tank columns into open terrain, unaware that Ukrainian reconnaissance drones were already monitoring every movement from above. For hours, Ukraine's surveillance units tracked the convoy, a massive line of T-72 and T-90 main battle tanks, supported by infantry fighting vehicles and fuel trucks. The Russians believed they were launching a surprise attack, but the surprise was already waiting for them. When the column entered what Ukrainian commanders later described as the kill zone, the strike began. Within seconds, precision, guided artillery and drone strikes rained down on the Russian formation. Loitering munitions, the so-called kamikaze drones, locked onto the leading and trailing tanks, trapping the entire convoy in a deadly bottleneck. Satellite footage later confirmed what many Ukrainian soldiers witnessed firsthand. The entire landscape lit up in a wave of fireballs as tanks erupted one after another, ammunition inside detonating like thunder. The engagement lasted less than 8 minutes, but by the end of it, 164 Russian tanks had been rendered completely inoperable. Ukrainian artillery units coordinated with drone teams in real time using Starlink-based battlefield communication, ensuring that every strike landed with near-perfect accuracy. This combination of high-tech surveillance and smart munitions has become the hallmark of Ukraine's modern warfare strategy: precise, mobile, and devastatingly effective. Western analysts are already calling it the revenge of precision warfare. Former NATO General Ben Hodges described the operation as a blueprint for how small, agile forces can annihilate large conventional armies when armed with intelligence and precision. He added, "It's not about numbers anymore. It's about networks, timing, and information dominance, and Ukraine just proved that on a scale no one thought possible." The Russian Ministry of Defense has remained silent on the incident, releasing only vague statements referring to temporary losses and regrouping maneuvers. However, intercepted communications suggest that the destruction of the tank column has triggered chaos within several Russian divisions operating in the region. Morale is said to have plummeted, with soldiers expressing fear that they are being hunted from the sky. On the Ukrainian side, President Volodymyr Zelensky hailed the operation as a defining moment in the country's defense campaign, saying, "Our forces turned the invaders' strength against them. Every tank they send is another target we will never miss." Independent analysts have verified much of the footage circulating online, showing dozens of destroyed Russian tanks lined up across burned terrain. Satellite images released by the UK Defence Intelligence Service reveal blackened craters and twisted metal carcasses stretching for nearly 5 kilometers. It's a visual testament to the destructive precision of modern drone warfare. Sources within Ukraine's military intelligence say the strike was carried out using a combination of long-range artillery, U.S. supplied HIMARS systems, and domestically produced drone swarms capable of striking armored targets simultaneously. Some reports even suggest the involvement of newly modified Ramroman 2 drones, lightweight loitering systems capable of identifying and striking tank heat signatures autonomously. This marks a turning point in the conflict, a shift from positional warfare to what many now call algorithmic warfare, where data, drones, and digital communication networks decide the outcome before traditional combat even begins. Ukraine's ability to synchronize intelligence, surveillance, and firepower has given them a decisive edge. especially against Russian forces that still rely heavily on Soviet-era doctrines of massed armor assaults. Military observers note that this battle also highlights a recurring flaw in Russia's strategy, underestimating the power of real-time intelligence. Despite fielding hundreds of tanks, Russian units lacked adequate air cover, counter drone systems, and proper electronic warfare capabilities to jam Ukrainian targeting signals. Essentially, they walked straight into a trap designed with mathematical precision. As the smoke cleared, Ukrainian units advanced cautiously, confirming the destruction of nearly the entire convoy. What they found was described as a graveyard of steel, rows upon rows of charred tanks, abandoned vehicles, and scattered ammunition. Many of the tanks had exploded internally, their turrets thrown meters away by secondary detonations. Forensic teams later counted 164 confirmed tank hulls destroyed beyond repair, along with dozens of support vehicles and personnel carriers. The psychological impact of this event on Russian troops cannot be overstated. Reports from intercepted communications and social media chatter inside Russia suggest that soldiers are increasingly refusing to advance into open terrain without significant air support. Some units are demanding anti-drone equipment before any new offensives, equipment that Russia's industry is struggling to supply fast enough. International reaction has been swift. NATO officials praised Ukraine's exceptional tactical execution, while several European defense ministers described the operation as proof that advanced Western weapons are being used effectively and responsibly. Meanwhile, Russian state media has attempted to downplay the losses, framing the footage as fabricated propaganda. But high-resolution satellite images and verified videos tell a different story, one of overwhelming precision and undeniable defeat. For Ukraine, this victory is more than symbolic. It significantly weakens Russia's armored capacity in the east and sends a clear message that large-scale armored offensives will not succeed against a networked, technologically adaptive force. It also boosts morale among Ukrainian troops and civilians alike, reminding the world that Ukraine's defense is as much about strategy and intelligence as it is about courage. Behind the scenes, sources indicate that Ukraine's intelligence operation began weeks before the ambush. Drone surveillance identified the buildup of Russian armor along a key corridor near Tokmak. Once movement was confirmed, Ukraine lured the enemy forward with a controlled withdrawal, drawing them into a valley surrounded by pre-registered artillery coordinates. It was a textbook example of operational deception, a tactic used by some of history's greatest military minds and executed flawlessly under modern conditions. This kind of warfare, dated, driven, adaptive, and relentless, represents the future of military conflict. Every tank, every vehicle, every movement is now a digital signature waiting to be tracked, mapped, and targeted. The destruction of 164 tanks in a matter of minutes underscores how rapidly the battlefield has evolved, where victory belongs not just to the strongest army, but to the smartest one. As the world watches this conflict unfold, one thing has become crystal clear: the age of mass armor dominance is fading. Drones, AI-guided systems, and networked intelligence are redefining the balance of power. Ukraine's strike is not just a military victory, it's a demonstration of what modern warfare can achieve when technology, timing, and tactical brilliance converge. In the words of one Ukrainian commander who participated in the operation, "We didn't need 1,000 tanks to win. We needed one good signal and perfect timing." As investigations continue and more footage emerges, this event will likely be studied by military academies worldwide for years to come. It serves as a chilling reminder of how quickly centuries of warfare tradition can be rewritten by innovation. And that's all for now from Military Matrix, where we bring you verified war news, analysis, and frontline updates with precision and integrity. Stay tuned, stay informed, and remember, in modern warfare, every signal counts.